Hey guys, this is my second time trying to record this video because I think it's pretty deep, at least by my standards. Um, and it's a point that I want to communicate to all of my viewers because I think it might be a unique point of view. I do believe that I'm correct in what I'm about to explain to you guys. However, I don't think a lot of people maybe have connected these dots. Maybe they have and I just haven't heard, but this seems to be kind of an original take on what's going on in the world right now. So I want to talk about all this dialogue happening in the media, the big mainstream media, as well as private diversified media that we're seeing like in the podcast space. I don't even know the proper term for that, but you guys know what I mean. Everyone's talking about civil war. So my opinion on that is if you talk about it enough, that it ends up becoming reality. Whether you're talking about how we should avoid it or shouldn't avoid it. I also, hot take here, maybe I already believe that we're too far gone for us to have an off ramp. And the reason why I believe that is a little bit unique, I think. So let's start there. Why do I believe that civil war is going to happen and there's nothing that we can do to stop it? Well, it's for the basic reason that we don't agree on anything at the most fundamental level anymore as a country. And I mean this as a population. Government be damned. Anybody else who blames government for everything needs to, quit hating the devil for who he is. He ain't ever going to change, right? But what you can control is what you vote for, and what you can't control is how you interact with other people. So stop using the government as a scapegoat. We know that tyrants are going to be tyrannical, okay? So that's not an excuse, right? So anyway, we don't have anything as a country that is like a base level of agreement on. We don't have a unification on faith. We don't have a unification on what we believe is the role of government in our lives. We don't have a unification on even the Bill of Rights anymore. And it's like the Overton window just keeps moving around, right? And one of my pet peeves that I'm hearing right now is we blame the big bad boogeyman that is like the Uniparty or Israel or the globalists, and say like, oh, all they're trying to do is pit us against each other. Yeah, well, of course, that's what they do. That's what any foreign power or domestic evil is going to try and do, is utilize. Never let a good conflict go to waste, right? George Orwell talks about that extensively in 1984. So, guys, of course that's happening. But that doesn't excuse you, not necessarily my viewers, I guess, but like us as a population, that doesn't excuse us for all of the dumb stuff that we believe now. Like us as more traditional, I guess, conservatives or even libertarians, we've completely lost our moral compass. Like we have allowed our country to just tolerate so much crap, like stuff that you don't believe in personally. But yet you've got this like live and let live mindset. And I used to have it too. It's ridiculous. When you start talking about how our strength is in like diversity of faith and culture, no, it's not. That's your greatest weakness, actually. That creates the most strife. That is the reason why we have problems right now. That's why nobody is willing to admit they lose in elections. It doesn't even matter if there is election fraud happening. People refuse to admit that they've lost because they have such a fundamental disagreement on the basics of what representation in government should be, or what God you worship, or the Bill of Rights. So that's a real issue. And that has not been caused by, the evil big bad government. The government is a symptom of the greater sickness. And I think the greater sickness has been caused by an incredible amount of wealth that this country has enjoyed since World War II. It's that basic. And then that amount of wealth created boomers. Boomers chose to not raise their children and to continually vote for more and more government in their lives. And so the state raised their children at school. They also voted for more and more women's suffrage, and the generation before them did. When women's suffrage and civil rights and all that stuff came out, the government took advantage of a nice conflict, and they said, okay, now we basically are going to condition you guys to have a dual income household. What does that do to the economy? Well, it means that now you don't get to raise your kids, and the government gets to raise your kids, and they get to then continue to use more of your money to spend it on other resources. right? They are always looking to take away responsibility from the individual. It's a natural state of tyranny and government. Even if you have the least tyrannical state possible, over time they will grow like a cancer. That's what happens. I blame a lot of this on the boomer generation. And you know, it's not like my generation and Gen X is not without blame. Like, we have our own problems, but the amount of overly wealthy boomers that just hate their children, or their children hate them, is staggering. Their divorce rate is staggering. This whole live and let live thing, and being totally okay with multiculturalism and globalism, is wild and self-destructive. And everyone always thinks that's like a race thing. It's not a race thing. It has to do with beliefs. I can believe in the same way as a Christian Nigerian does. He might be black and I'm white, and he might be from Nigeria and I'm from Texas. However, we're going to agree on all the fundamental tenets of how we should live life, and I would rather live next to him than a white guy who's an atheist, even though we look the same. You know why? Because we believe the same things at a fundamental level. You got to get rid of this live and let live attitude, and you got to stop blaming everybody else for the problems of this country. The problems in this country, and really the world, are now and have always been a ridiculous amount of godlessness and sinful nature. And when we tolerate it, it grows. So that's my perspective. I don't believe we can step away from civil war, because I think it's easier for us to go to violence as a country than it is to completely back off of it. I don't know. It's a very black-pilled take. I don't think we can do anything about it. It's sad, but I think it's reality. And I'd love to be wrong, guys. Like, I would love to be wrong here. But I just don't think I am. All empires have to come to an end. I don't know if that means it'll happen tomorrow, or in 20 years, or in my grandchildren's lives, or maybe it already ended before and we just don't feel it yet. I don't know. Does it matter, though? Not really. It shouldn't change what you do, right? So you should always love your neighbor. Stand up for what you believe in. You should believe in Christian ethics, and, you know, read the gospel and try to spread it. Lead with love. Don't be weak and tolerant. Love the man, not the sin. Love the sinner, not the sin. Excuse me. And so, you know, our tolerance of all this evil has allowed it to grow. And it's our fault. It's not the globalists. It's not the people that are, you know, on the other side of the political aisle that are crazy. Right now they're crazy because you allowed them to do the things that they've done and infiltrate education and take Christ and God and the Bible and all of our founding tenets out of every aspect of our lives. And the reason why you did that is because you, and I mean me too, all of us had this stupid live and let live philosophy and thinks that like diversity and ideals bring strength. It doesn't. Unity is not a virtue, guys. It's not a virtue at all. You should not be united with somebody who wants to destroy you. Just the way it is. So anyway, there's kind of my black-pilled take. I hope this wasn't too crazy and off-handle that everyone takes us the wrong way. I would just challenge you to maybe take a little bit of responsibility on yourself. Think about things differently, as opposed to just blaming everybody else for all the problems in the world. When you don't have control over what everyone else is doing, you have control over how you behave. Anyway, have a good one.